Peace, y'all. We made it. This is fruition. I hope this finds you all well. Sex as a weapon. Sex as a weapon. There's a story up about the coach from Michigan, brother Shorrone Moore, was fired due to inappropriate conduct with a subordinate. He broke a contractual agreement, lost a very high profile position as a head coach. This isn't a segment where we're about to demonize the brother's character or anything like that. If I don't even know the whole spill, I want to touch on something that is not being addressed. I want to call it the elephant in the room. Perversion is the weapon of mass destruction of many men. I repeat, the perversion is a weapon of mass destruction of many men. You hear about somebody that in the news, rather, right? Because everyday people and everyday lives is, we wouldn't know about Brother Moore if he wasn't high profile, celebrity, if you will, in the news, quote unquote, successful, right? And we see many men fall victim of this. And I don't have to name the top profile people, that we see, right? But the elephant in the room is what is the determining factor, if you will? What is the detriment? The detriment would be, on my understanding, is a seed that's planted. What you talking about? A seed that's planted. A seed has everything in it to reproduce itself. I'm gonna say that again. A seed has everything in it to reproduce itself. All right? The seed is planted through the celebrity, through the movies, through the social media, through visual imagery, through music. Think about it. I'm referring to the perversion, the sexual perversion. Even the kids have access, unlimited access for free, of no filter, unfiltered perversion daily in everything that they do, even most definitely in the school place, right? And it's planted as seeds, and it's so, it grows so subtle that you're not even aware. You'll be, I don't even want to call it this, be distracted. You'll become disengaged, not disengaged. You'll become sort of oblivious that this is taking place, and through its acceptance in society, a social acceptance. I'm talking about the perversion, all right? Sexual perversion. Let's work, right? You could take on one hand, and I say destruction of many men. Many men. You have on one hand someone that could have everything to offer, right? The money, the success, the fame, the family, the wife, the children, the dog, anything that you can imagine, you would think that, someone has, right? And then that gets sacrificed for what someone would say, an affair, or he cheated, and it was dumb. He faced, he sacrificed his whole family, and they demonize him, and he's getting crucified, and he's the worst man on the planet. Didn't kill nobody, right? And it's not about standing up or defending any parts of it. That's not what I'm doing. But let's address what it is that many men, this is biblical. Many men fall for lust and the perversion of it. And where does it come from? Why would you trade that? And I speak a lot on awareness of, even in the monetization world of making money, having money or not having money doesn't exempt you from the trials, right? Or the tribulations in of this realm. Man is not determined, or a man is not, the attributes of a man isn't, the materialistic things or the possessions or his possessions. That's not in essence of what a man is. Man is made in the image of. We'll come back to that. The perversion, the seed that's planted. If you take on the TV screen, my first set of breasts, or a female's chest, right? Titties, right? I've seen the first that I can remember I seen was Nia Long, salute, and that was in Boys in the Hood, right? How old was I? Might be looking at that 5 or 6, right? It was a scene in that movie, and the scene the mom said to Ricky. Ricky and his girlfriend was kissing, and they had and he was holding a baby, and she said, "Yup, that's how y'all got that one." That, as a kid, right, clicked. That made me not want to kiss a girl because you didn't want to have kids, right? And I thought that's really what made kids, the kissing, right? I give another example of tits that I seen on TV, right? Alien, when in the beginning they came out of the capsules, I forgot the lady's name, the white lady, she came out, she was showing her breasts, right? She came out of the thing came up, they woke up, and she showed her breasts. I was 5, 6 years old. That was the first seeds that was planted of the perversion. Think about that, right? So now I want to fast forward. Movies was way more reserved back in the day. I mean, nowadays TV shows, is straight pornography. It's unfiltered, uncut on both levels, on any levels. Okay, social media. You got the miles. You can see people in the nude on social medias, on different platforms, and these things are free platforms. Anything free there's nothing free in the world. It's paying for itself. Someone's getting paid off of it, right? Just by you looking at it, okay? These seeds are being planted, whether you're aware of it or not, right? And the kids got it the worst. The music. What music is being, if you're not even down with how to break down lyrics and with the ebonics of what the lingo is now, right? You won't even be able to follow in words or spells and have meaning to it. So when you put a tune to it and you can sing a song that's talking about a certain thing, or you hear a tune, all the sports arenas, venues, they got music playing. Okay, it almost makes it like a party, right? And a party makes people move. It's little seeds that's being planted, right? And that is the perversion part of why you'll look at someone that's so successful and and demonize them. And every man knows you want to call it temptation, right? You can call it temptation when you don't know who you are and what sex and the meaning of sex is used for. And I'm talking about with the I don't believe it's even sex if it's not with the opposite sex. I don't even think you can call it that. And I'm not here to, I'm not going to spin off into that, right? But when looking at the opposite, I would tell all my young men, all my young women, that if you're not looking at the opposite sex, as far as a young man courting a woman to be, and this is what I learned from experience of similar things, as I wasn't high profile, I was the coach, just keeping in the beam, right? Many men deal with this, right? As just not having understanding of self, and dealing with the idea of what a woman is for, the opposite sex is for. They're not of something like using sex as something to do when you're bored, when you don't have nothing to do, as recreation. That's not rec. That would be, that activity builds the Messiah. You create the Messiah with doing that. That's what that's for, right? That's what that's for. Okay, men, if that's not the woman that you want to leave legacy and build that with, run from it. You fast. You retain your semen. You gotta practice understanding that's not what sex is for. Okay, young women, same thing. If that's not who you want to have kids for, if that's not who you want to follow, whichever way he might go, if that's not the leader that you want to lead, for example, run from it. You fast, you hold tight, because the purest self is the virgin self. Your virgin self is the strongest version of yourself, and it's the purest version of yourself. Your virginity, and being virginable, right? Man and female. It used to be looked down upon when I was young. It was almost a thing, a stigma. The virgin versus someone that was getting some, right? I would imagine it was like that for the females as well, right? Because nobody took things was tabooed. We wasn't taught this. It wasn't talked about. But now we have to address the elephant in the room now, because these kids have access to everything. Okay, and when you see someone that has it made over and over and over, and they get demonized publicly, and kind of throw away all that they worked so hard for over the same thing, we have to address it, because not all these men aren't stupid. These men aren't intelligent. These men are, someone said they're not victims. I take a stand that they are victims. Maybe not the way you're looking at it. This is fruition. This is a divine reflection, elevating worlds. We're victims of the seed being planted. Okay, and this grew. It was growing the entire time. It was growing. Shame and everything, like, to have to go through certain experiences to develop into what you were destined for, right? So to speak, in your success and your purpose, and whether it was coaching, whether it was teaching, whether it was whatever it may be, whatever your endeavors is, right? Because the brother Moore is not exclusive to this, right? This is something that men deal with all over the planet. This is biblical, okay? Self-awareness and understanding of self. That is what this is about. Understanding who you are and what your purpose is. And that's a journey within itself. It's although it's acceptable to have relations in and out of marriages, and it's acceptable in this culture anyway, right? It's not, the seed is planted that way. The virgin is the strongest, purest version of yourself, male or female, male or female. And that is something that needs to be taught. That is something that needs to be taught. Because with we're going to see many men, fall for the same, hat trick. That's the, or not even the hat trick. That's the banana in the tailpipe right there. Because again, why would someone have so much to offer to give, and basically just hand their plate over like that? Why would they do it? Again, it doesn't make them not intelligent. It's something there. The seed was already planted, and we're the victim. We are the victim of the perversion in society being implanted or induced, and allow our kids to go through the same things. Right now, I'm afraid to not talk to my kids about everything, because they're going to get it anyway. Think about when you was, how much did you know about that that your parents didn't know that you knew about, right? Or how much was you exposed to, even in school, outside at the playground? What was, the things that you was doing that you weren't supposed to be doing when you was a youth? Okay, that at least if we give the information, the choices, we have free will to do as we will. Okay, but to not, or just to go with the flow and say, yeah, next, and then we're going to keep getting on and nobody, been through something similar. And I know many men who has, not everybody's talking about it, right? Having your family and so much to give, and you dealing with earthly or worldly things. That's what you will call, things like adultery and committing adultery and cheating and things like that. And for the most part, it's not having understanding of self, not being taught to be self-aware, right? And not being taught what truth is. What truth is. It's a big difference. It's a big difference of, when you're being when you're being humbled, the way that you look at the things, in hindsight, pretty much, right? Hindsight is 2020. And you got to make everything work for you in consciousness. It's not the end of the world for the brother. And I just used that. I wanted to use that point not to slander anybody. I never met him. And before I heard about the story, I really didn't know who he was, because I don't follow the college football sport, or sports like that in general, unless I know somebody that is, in the game. I like student athlete game. I like the student athlete game. But, yeah, man. Other than that, we ain't going to drag it out too much. I just wanted to touch on that and just be like, we gotta, speak truth to power, and the seed has everything in it to reproduce itself. And once the seed is planted, through the social media, through the TikToks, through your YouTube, through all these through that phone that your kid has, that you keep the kid with the phone, pay the bill, and say that's for, if case of emergency, the kid will call me, or I call so I can get in touch with your kid. Them kids answer the phone and talk on the phone with everybody but their parents. Planting seeds. Okay, we're planting seeds, and the only seed that we need to nourish and plant and the harvest is purpose. You have to be locked into the purpose. The purpose is the seed. If it's not beneficial to you, if it's not even a benefit to you, we have to abstain from it and fast from it. That's discipline. Not doing doing only what's beneficial and not what feels good or what we want. on the field and off the field. Put it that way. And it doesn't matter if it's a male or female. If it's not beneficial, we have to really live a certain way and not. You really got to be sharp. You got to be sharp all the time and really demonstrate discipline and demonstrate not making mistakes. And mistakes is cool. Don't let that go over your head. But, the purpose is not to make mistakes and demonstrate. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. And you're not, the guy, my man didn't kill nobody, and they throwing him under the bus. They throwing everybody under the bus. When you in that, to whom much is given, much is required. So when you in that light, and when we in that light, anything, anything could be looked and flipped. That thing, have a slant on it, and that's not what this is. I just wanted to bring, awareness of, be mindful what you lay your eyes on, even through scrolling, the conversation that's had, the engagement that you have. I've been single for a while, and I don't even, maybe naturally I'm chivalrous, but I don't even pretend. I look unavailable to the opposite sex, because I'm not even, that's not where you understand? Going that way. So it's not too much I can waver going left or right. And this is understanding, and this is growth, and this is not, it's not perfection. It's not perfection at all. It's just the intention has to be there. And I know that seeds that was planted, I could see them clear as day now. And what the intention was for us to get to a level of quote unquote success, like the brother Shorrone Moore, and for us to throw it away, for not even a desire that's not even really, it's just something that is planted and that then grew, and you do it because it's like what we do, and it didn't matter if you violating the contract or if it's against the law, or it doesn't matter, because the seed is planted, and it's it's all right to do. It's just not all right to get caught being done. And then when you caught, that's what you get. You know what I mean? So why risk it? Or was you, or did you? That's another video. But yeah, I hope this video finds us, well, man. I'm glad you could make it. It's truly wonderful. This has been a divine reflection, elevating worlds. I'm Drew. Peace.